Word formation processes. Word formation refers to the different ways new words are created in a language, and it helps explain how English keeps growing and changing. Everyday English adds fresh words through processes like adding prefixes or suffixes to existing words, combining two words to make a new one, shortening longer expressions, or even borrowing from other languages. For example, smartphone comes from smart and phone, while unhappy comes from the prefix and plus happy. Understanding these processes makes it easier to recognize patterns in vocabulary, spell new words correctly, and notice how language responds to new ideas in society and technology. 1. Affixation, like prefixes, suffixes, infixes, circumfixes. Definition: adding a piece of morpheme, which is an affix to a base word to create a new word. Examples: prefix occurs at the beginning of a word. Un plus happy makes unhappy, which is a negation. Suffix occurs at the end of a word. Teach plus a makes teacher, which is an agent. Infix occurs in the middle of a word, which is very rare in English. Expletive infixation. Example: abso-bloody-lutely. Circumfix, which is not used in modern English. Example: some German circumfixes. English sometimes shows historical remnants. What it does: typically changes grammatical category or meaning. Example: happy, which is an adjective, changes to happiness, which is a noun. Affixation is morphologically visible. You can point to the added piece. English readily forms new words with suffixes, like able, ness, and prefixes, like un, re, pre. Note that affixes often change or alters stress or spelling. G. Create becomes creation, stress shift, vowel change. 2. Compounding. Definition: joining two or more words to make a single word or phrase. Types and examples: noun plus noun. Example: tooth plus brush becomes toothbrush. Adjective plus noun. Example: black plus board becomes blackboard. Verb plus noun. Example: break plus fast becomes breakfast. Hyphenated or open compounds. Example: sister-in-law. High school. What it does: it adds meanings into a new lexical or word item. The grammatical category of the compound often matches one of the parts. Example: toothbrush is a noun. New compounds are created productively, especially in technical registers and popular culture. Example: blogosphere, smartphone, climate-proof. Notes: stress patterns help signal compounds. Greenhouse, which is plant structure, versus greenhouse, which is a house that is green. 3. Derivation. Zero derivation included. Definition: forming a new word from an existing one, usually with an affix, but sometimes without any visible change. Examples: with an affix. Example: happy to happiness. Modern to modernize. Conversion without noticeable change or zero derivation. Example: to plus verb from verb as noun without change. To email is a verb from an email, which is a noun. What it does: it creates new lexical items and often changes part of speech. Conversion is one of English's favorite shortcuts. Bottle, which is a noun, becomes to bottle, which is a verb. 4. Clipping. Definition: shortening a longer word without changing its meaning or word class. Examples: advertisement becomes ad. Telephone becomes phone. Influenza becomes flu. What it does: it creates shorter, often more informal forms. It is common in casual speech, brand names, and slang. Clipping can be in front, like info from information, at the back, like phone from telephone, or even in the middle of a word, like fridge from refrigerator. 5. Blending. Definition: merging parts of two words to make a new one. Examples: breakfast plus lunch becomes brunch. Motor plus hotel becomes motel. Smoke plus fog becomes smog. What it does: it combines meanings from source words, often with playful or efficient effect. New blends appear frequently in tech and culture, like bromance, binge watch, Blends usually take the beginning of one word and the end of another, but patterns vary. 6. Acronymy and initialism. Definition: forming a word from the initial letters of a phrase. If the result is pronounced as a word, it is an acronym. If spelled out letter by letter, it is an initialism. Examples: acronym, NATO North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Initialism, FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. What it does: it condenses or compresses multi-word expressions into compressed lexical or word items. It is highly used, especially in technical, governmental, and corporate contexts. Some acronyms become ordinary words. Example: laser, from light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. 7. Back formation. Definition: creating a new base word by removing a real or supposed affix from an existing word. Examples: editor from the word edit is a back-formed verb. Babysitter from the word babysit. Enthusiasm from the word enthuse. What it does: it often yields verbs from nouns, by similarity with productive patterns. Back formation depends on speakers reanalyzing morphology. Back-formed words can sometimes feel informal or newer than the source. Example: burgle from the word burglar versus burglarize would be odd. 8. Borrowing loanwords. Definition: taking a word from another language and adapting it to English. Examples: from French, restaurant, caf. From Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, like Kola, Ogboni, are cultural borrowing. From Spanish, like patio, plaza. What it does: enriches vocabulary with concepts or objects new to the borrowing language, or with prestige forms. English is highly receptive to loanwords. Borrowed words often change pronunciation or spelling to fit English phonology and orthography. 9. Coinage neologism. Definition: inventing a completely new word. Sometimes brand names turn general words. Examples: Kleenex becoming a generic term for tissue. Literary coinage, like cork, which is borrowed into physics after Joyce. Tech coinages, like Google, which can be verb and noun. What it does: it fills lexical gaps or brands a product strongly enough that the brand becomes a common noun. Coinages can be protected trademarks until they become genericized. 10. Reduplication. Definition: repeating a whole word or part of it to form a new word, often with a playful or emphatic meaning. Examples: exact, like bye, chew chew, a blot or rhyming, like zigzag, wishy-washy, hodgepodge. What it does: it often adds emphasis, expressiveness, or childishness. It is limited but clear in colloquial and child-directed speech. Some reduplicatives become fixed lexical items rather than pure repetition. 11. Folk etymology. Definition: reshaping a word or phrase because people misunderstand its structure, then reanalyzing it as something more familiar. Examples: asparagus becomes sparrowgrass, which is a historical example. Cockroach from Spanish cucaracha via folk reanalysis. What it does: changes form to match familiar words or morphemes, producing new surface forms. Folk etymology explains many historical shifts in vocabulary. 12. Compounding with conversion and derivation mixed processes. Definition: many new words use more than one process at once. Examples: camera becomes camcorder, which is blending plus compounding. Photo becomes graphy becomes photography, which is clipping plus affixation. Text noun becomes to text, which is conversion and can also become texture derivation. What it does: it yields complex innovations and shows how processes can combine freely. Modern English is good at mixing strategies. Inflection versus derivation. Why it matters. Inflection changes a word to express grammatical information, but does not make a new lexical item. Walk becomes walks, walked, walking. Derivation creates a new lexeme or word, like happy turns to unhappy, happiness. Derived words belong to the lexicon as new entries, inflected forms do not.